Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're talking about the thing you've been waiting for the longest time, the long-awaited Cell support. So we know that back, what was this, like set 4, set 5, I want to say? I don't remember off the top of my head, but when they limited the 3-drop Cell to 1, they mentioned in the designer notes that they were doing that so they could kind of more freely create Cell support so that it wouldn't be too broken with a 3-drop that basically unions into almost anything. So they did that for that reason. For several sets though, we didn't see new Cell support, so people were getting pretty upset. They were just wondering why, you know, they banned their precious Cell and didn't give any new support. Well, finally guys, here we are with that support. We're gonna go over the new structure deck stuff for Cell. We don't have the main set stuff yet, but keep in mind this archetype is gonna be getting even more support, so you have all the more reason to be excited about it. When we're talking about the new support, we're gonna look for a few things. Number 1, does it synergize with the old Cell chain? Number 2, does it search the limited 3-drop Cell in any way? And again, if it doesn't do it in the structure deck, it might do it in the main set. We don't know, so keep your hopes up for that. With that being said, guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And guys, if you're looking for a super competitive tournament to play in come February, make sure to check out the Dalen Mac Tournament of Power down in the description below. I believe in this tournament. I believe in my teammates, and we want to see you guys there. It's gonna be the best tournament of the year. Make sure you guys check it out down below in the description. With that being said, we are gonna get right into this video. So going into the structure deck stuff, we're getting a Cell leader from the structure deck. Funny enough that the starter deck leaders aren't surge leaders, aren't multicolor. It's kind of weird because you would think they want to push that like pretty hard, but I guess that's not what their goal is. I imagine we're getting a multicolor Cell leader in the main set. It might be an Android 18, might be an Android 17. It could be a Dr. Gero for all we know, but I imagine it's going to be a Cell leader. I could be wrong though. With that being said, let's check out what the Cell leader does. Auto: when this card is placed in your leader area, choose up to 1 Cell Games arena from your deck, activate it, and you can't activate field cards for the duration of the game. That's an interesting restriction. I wonder why they decided to implement that. I mean, it also seems weird if you get your Cell Games arena blown up, but maybe your Cell Games arena blows itself up to do things. Who knows? We don't know yet. And the Cell Games arena is not in this list, unfortunately. It's probably like a main set card that they're going to reprint for the structure deck, so just keep that in mind. But activate main once per turn. Choose 1 green or yellow card from your hand, place it under this card, and you can choose a multicolor card for that same cost. Then you choose 1 card in your life, place it in the drop area, draw 2. Okay, so we've seen this before. We've seen leaders that crit themselves. Mostly Black Broly comes to mind, and there's a few other leaders that do it. Not always the most impactful. This is pretty cool that it has a Beerus-like effect that says basically pitch 1, draw 2. But what's unfortunate is that you crit the life. And like unlike Beerus, where you have the Whis in the drop area that adds life to your hand, for this guy, you have to crit a life. Now, I know there are some effects in this that require you to have a drop area, so we'll read more of those as we go on. If there are a total of 4 or more energy between you and your opponent, so basically, if you go second, you can awaken on turn 2, which is pretty neat. You draw 2 and flip over, and then on the backside, activate main once per turn, choose a green and yellow card from your hand, place it under this card, then choose 1 card in your hand, 1 card in your life, place in the drop area, draw 2. So you want to awaken as soon as possible, and you might want to ramp in this, but you are green yellow, so it doesn't seem like it's going to be too viable to do that. You'd have to splash blue, either steer away from green yellow or go tricolor, which probably isn't super optimal. But activate main once per turn, choose 2 cards under this card, place them in the owner's drop area, play 2 Cell Junior tokens, and they have 10,000 power, 0 combo cost, and 5,000 combo power. So that's some free advantage. That's pretty cool. You just get these weenies that you can just like chump block attacks with. And that is really helpful, I guess, when you are critting yourself down. You are gaining advantage. You are drawing 2 every turn, which is pretty powerful. But at the same time, you're critting your life, which is a precious resource in the sense that you need that life sometimes to bounce off attacks. You know, if you're going against a super aggressive deck, I don't know if you can necessarily afford to be critting your life all the time. But if you don't crit your life, then you can't draw 2 cards. So, and I think on the other side too, it doesn't say up to 1 life, right? No, you have to crit the life in order to do this. But the cool thing is, it awakens pretty early from the looks of it. So if you go first, you can awaken, I guess, on turn 3, or I guess you can awaken on your opponent's turn when they go to turn 2. So I guess no matter what, on turn 2 you can always awaken, because you can awaken on your defensive combo step, and you're a draw 2 leader, so you don't really mind awakening on your opponent's turn. Unlike if you were an untap leader, you'd want to use that untap on your turn most likely, but since you're a draw 2 leader, you don't really mind when you awaken on whose turn. So I guess this leader is well designed for that regard. Just the critting itself, I'm not too thrilled about, but we'll see what happens to the rest of the support. And again, there will probably be another main set Cell leader to complement this stuff. Cell genetic consumption. So at the look of it, we have a 1-drop unit absorb. We can only imagine how busted this is going to be. So let's see. Cell genetic consumption, unit absorb. Choose an Android 17 card in your drop area and place it under this card. Choose up to 1 green-yellow multicolor cell with energy cost of 4 from your hand or deck. Play it on top of this card in active mode. Then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So a little bit of protection from Crusher Ball. That's pretty cool. I think this also protects from Mutaito. It might not protect it in window 2 though, so we'd have to check into the ruling on that. And you need an Android 17 in your drop area, so critting the life, I guess, is one of the quicker ways to get there. I mean, you pretty much have to hope you get that. But on your Awakened side, once you start spawning the Cell Junior tokens, you're gonna have this guy alive no matter what. So I guess that is pretty solid. Android 18, Imminent Danger. We got a 3-drop 15k. Activate main for 1. If your leader card is an Android card and you send this card from your drop area to your warp, choose it to 1 green or yellow Android card with energy cost of 1 in your drop area and add it to your hand. So right off the bat, if this ends up in your drop area, you're going to be able to recycle your 1-drop cell. And it's a really cheap unit absorb, so you're spamming a 4-drop basically as many times as you possibly can. And the cool thing about this is that it seems to play the guy from your hand if you happen to draw it, which in the old cell chain, if you drew your cell chain pieces, you were really screwed. But in this engine, it seems like you can afford to draw them and still play them with the unit absorb, so that's pretty good. We've got Android 17, Impending Crisis, 1-drop 4k counterattack. I think it's so weird how they decided to make all these things 4k attackers and not 5k, but no matter what, it says counterattack, negate the attack, play this card. Auto if your leader card's an Android. Keep in mind this works with blue Android leaders, any color Android leaders, also black, just keep those in mind. When you play this card, choose up to 1 battle card with an energy cost of 4 or less that has Android in its name from your deck, place in the drop area, then shuffle your deck. So does this 1-drop say Android in the name? No, it does not. Okay, so when it says in the name, it has to be in the actual character name up top. I don't think that applies to the character or the trait or anything like that, so keep that in mind. This does not search the 3-drop cell from the looks of it, because if this did, let's just say it said let's just say it sent any Android, right? So it would send the 3-drop cell. You could dump the 3-drop cell, you could pick it up with the Android 18, but I believe because it says Android in the card name, that's not going to work. I believe these special brackets do indicate that. So kind of unfortunate it doesn't search that stuff, but we'll keep going. So that seems to be all the Android support. Now, from just what we've seen, none of it seems to synergize with that 3-drop cell, with the old cell chain. Of course, you can play the old cell chain in this deck, but it doesn't seem like any of the Union stuff happens to work with it. So Super Saiyan Son Goku, Valiant Breakthrough. Auto, when you combo with this card from your drop area, choose up to 1 green-yellow multicolor Son Gohan Childhood in your battle area and switch it to active mode. So right off the bat with that auto, we see a combo coming in. You have to combo it from your drop area, so we're going to imagine that something allows you to do that. Activate main if your opponent has 4 or more energy and you have a cell card with an energy cost of 4 or more in play. Play this card from your hand. If you do, choose up to 1 of your opponent's cards, switch it to rest mode. Note that can hit energy, and you can't play this card for the duration of the turn. So basically, if your opponent has the 4 energy, you play this for free. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, we'll see it in a second. There's a new keyword skill called Successor, and you're going to need cards on the board to sacrifice for those types of effects. Super Saiyan Vegeta, Begrudging Support, 2-drop 15. So anytime you see a 15k Vegeta, you're thinking about Gogeta 7 potentially fusing. It's yellow, so it's a good color. Blue-yellow Gogeta is definitely a solid archetype. Auto, when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's skillless battle cards, KO it, and this card gains 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. So interesting, they just decided to make some random skillless hate. I guess that's cool. But I'll also keep in mind that if you have anything that negates the effects of your opponent's battle cards, they become skillless, and then this thing can answer those cards. So that's a pretty cool thing to note. There aren't too many cards that do it. I mean, you have Cold Bloodlust, you have Frost Deadly Poison. Those aren't going to be super relevant to the Cell archetype most likely. But if you play this card in like a Cold Bloodlust deck, that's pretty cool. So next up we've got Pernicious Progeny. 1-drop extra card, activate battle, choose up to 2 Cell Junior tokens in your battle area, and remove them from the game, which your leader basically spawns for free. And this card activates in battle for 1 energy. For each Cell Junior token you remove from the game with the skill, choose up to 1 of your opponent's cards and switch to rest mode. Okay, so for 1 energy, you can tap 2 energy. That's pretty solid. This is an extra card, but if it clogs your hand, you can always just put it under your leader to draw 2. That's pretty cool. Activate main, pay a yellow. If your leader card is a cell card, add this card from your drop area to your hand. So we saw this again yesterday with the red-blue extra card. It's like a board wipe, I forget the name of it. But we have that recyclability. Activate main, pay a color, and if your leader is a certain race, pick it up from the drop area. that recyclability is really, really cool. But again, it kind of determines, or it kind of disincentivizes you from playing Overrealms. I don't think it's that much of a conflict, but like if you really wanted to rely on Pernicious Progeny, and this does seem like a pretty solid card, I like it a lot, you're gonna want to not overwhelm it away, right? And this is really cool because you can like attack with the Cell Junior tokens and then use this. Like there's a lot of cool things you can do with this. I like it a lot. Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan, Wounded Victor. Okay, this is dope because this is one of my favorite characters in the whole series. Triple Strike, Energy Exhaust of Successor, pay a green, a yellow, and a colorless. So basically this becomes a 3-drop if you choose any number of your mono green, mono yellow, or green yellow multicolor battle cards whose energy costs add up to the energy cost of this card. You place them in the drop area, and then you play this from your hand. So keep in mind they have to be on color. I was thinking of good engines that would potentially work with this, and of course we saw that Goku earlier that played itself for free, so that's going to work well. But I was also thinking veggies with this because green yellow veggies is a thing. We have the new yellow U6 veggies as well as the old stuff like Saiyan Teamwork Kaba and Hidden Awakening Kale. So those are also valid things for this stuff. And I wonder actually if the green Kale, the green Caulifla, the 2-drop Caulifla, I wonder if that prevents you from actually having to sacrifice your cards for this. I don't think Caulifla protects you from costs, but I would need to double check that ruling. That's a really cool thing to investigate. Auto once per turn. When this card attacks, choose up to 1 yellow Sun Goku card in your drop area and combo with it with this card. So that's how you're going to proc that from the drop area. This is going to be a dual attack triple strike. Pretty much that's like a common thing they're going with. I mean, we had Height of Mastery, we had Great Ape Whisper and Heartfelt Plea in set 8, and now in set 9 we're getting another triple strike dual attack combo. It is game ending. It's not the most powerful thing in the world ever, but it seems to be really strong in Heartfelt Plea decks, so keep that in mind. Cell Perfection Misspent, 8-drop Energy Exhaust. Auto, when you play this card, choose one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Auto, choose an Android 18 under this card, place in the owner's drop area as the cost. When your opponent's card attacks, negate the attack, then choose up to 1 green yellow multicolored Cell card with an energy cost of 4 under this card. Play it and place this card in the owner's drop area. So keep in mind, anytime that there is a cost to an auto, that it becomes an optional effect. You don't have to do it just because the auto has been met, so keep that in mind. But you get a negate out of this guy, which is pretty cool. I imagine you're going to be tapping out a decent amount in this deck, so having that negate is pretty helpful. Cell Perfection Reclaimed, Union Absorb, pay a green energy, choose an Android 18 in your drop area, then you put it under this card, choose 1 Cell card with an energy cost of 8 from your deck or hand, play it on top of this card in active mode, then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So a few things. Because the Union Absorbs put the new cards on top in active mode, you can get the 15k swing, which is pretty cool. Then you have your 30k restanding to come back. Oh, sorry, I guess it's a 20k. That's pretty weak, actually. But this doesn't seem to work at all with the old Cell Chain, so keep that in mind. It seems to work specifically with certain energy costs. We know the old Cell Chain was a 5-drop and a 7-drop. This is a 4-drop and an 8-drop, so that doesn't seem to work. Auto, if you have 4 or more energy, when this card is placed in a drop area from a battle area by a skill, choose 1 Cell with energy cost of 8 in your drop area and play it. So if this guy gets popped, you play the 8-drop for free. That's pretty cool recyclability, and I guess it is a really cheap 8-drop, so I shouldn't be expecting it to be like 30k, but it is a single striker. So maybe it's a little undertuned, but I mean, who knows, I guess. So overall, guys, that's the new Cell support. I think it's really, really cool. One thing I really want to investigate is if that 2-drop Caulifla does prevent you from sacrificing with Successor. Again, I don't think that protects you from costs, but I could be wrong, guys. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this new stuff. I'm pretty excited for it. I really want to play something with this new SS2 Son Gohan. And again, I think veggies could be a really cool way to activate Successor. But guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.